Hi guys, welcome to today's lesson. So today we're going to be focusing on solving inequalities. Firstly, we're going to look at the difference between an inequality and an equality to try to see what exactly do these two things mean, and then we'll look at a later stage quadratic inequalities to try and see then how does an inequality change from being just a linear thing to being a quadratic thing. But for now, let's just look at the question that is going to lead this particular lesson at the moment. So, have you ever thought about how does an equality differ from an inequality, right? So you know that equality would mean something that is equal another thing, and inequality, does it mean the same thing or is there something different there? But we're just going to talk about that as we move along. Our map for this lesson, we're looking at algebraic inequalities. There's going to be symbols that are going to represent inequalities, and there are types of inequalities, which is the quadratic and the linear, but we're going to start with the linear first. There's some rules that we need to adhere to when we're solving inequalities, and also there is 3 methods that we normally employ, and you guys can then always choose whichever one works for you best. The keywords for this lesson is an inequality. We're going to look at what exactly is an inequality, and then we will then make it to be a linear inequality and try to see how do we then talk about a linear inequality. Now, an inequality, compares two values, right? What does this mean? It means one value might be bigger than the other value, or it might be smaller than the other value, or it might not be equal at all. So this shows that whether one value is equal to another or not equal to another. It shows whether one value is less than another value. Lastly, it shows whether one value is greater than another value. And we're going to use symbols because we're not really going to write words like this when you're talking about inequalities. So in terms of symbols, not equal, you know that is an equal sign with a transversal in between, so like a slash, says that A is not equal to B. And you know, if I just said A is equal to B, whatever that A is, B is that as well. But if you put a slash in between there, it means it is not equal to. Then the A less than, so this symbol that I have in between these two letters actually says that A is less than B. And the one that I have now here that is facing the other direction says that A is greater than B. These two symbols are known as our strict inequalities. Why am I saying they are strict inequalities? Because at times it might be that A is greater than B, but also A is also equal to B. So we look at how do we then write that as a symbol, right? That's what I'm saying. These are only the strict inequalities. As soon as we introduce when A now is also equal to whilst it is greater than or less than B, then we're talking about an equality. That's where the difference between equality and an inequality comes in here. I'm not really talking about equality and inequality under general language terms, right? It's mathematically based, whatever that we're going to talk about here. Now, in terms of examples, you need to always remember which way around this goes. So the bigger value, wherever the inequality is opening to, will be the bigger value, and wherever the sharp point is facing will be the smaller value. So that's just one of the ways that I can try and help you remember how to look at this. And wherever, remember I said the sharp point is facing is the smaller value, and wherever it is opening to is the bigger value. Some people, they use their hands, right, to show you that which one is greater and which one is less. The right hand side, if you bend your elbow like this, will be greater than, and your left hand side, if you bend it like this, will be less than. So whatever that is this side will be less than me, but whatever that is that side of my elbow will be less than me, meaning I'm greater than that particular thing. So those are just things that we will be looking at as a frame of reference for this particular. So that's just one of the ways you can remember which direction the sign goes in. Now, in terms of typical examples, I have -5 is less than 3. Remember, wherever the sharp point is, means it is the small number. Wherever the inequality is opening to is the big number. So if I wanted to show you this in terms of a number line, I would then say that this is an unknown, right? I would treat maybe my 5 as an unknown, meaning from the value 3, I am looking at all the values that are that side, right? So you know that -5 will be somewhere at the side on a number line, meaning it is less than the 3. And then when I look at 3 greater than -5, it's just the other way around, but it really means one and the same thing. Now, equality and inequality now, if I have A is less or equal to, the symbol actually says less or equal to, and I'm quickly going to make an example for you to understand this, and this symbol will mean that A is greater or equal to B. In terms of an example, if I have a plastic bottle, right, and I am told that it can hold up to 440 milliliters of cold drink, you know, the one that we buy from the tuck shop, how much cold drink is in the bottle? So it can hold up to, meaning the maximum capacity of the bottle is 440 mils. But it can also hold less than that. So the first point will say it can hold, or rather it could be 440 mils of cold drink, or it could be less than that. Why? Because the up to part means that's the maximum, but it can hold less than that. Now, we say this mathematically, we say that it is less than or equal to. So what I will then say, I will use B for the bottle, and I will say it is less than or equals to 440 mil. So the bottle can hold either the 440 or anything less than the 440. So that's just a typical example of how you can then think about this. You can even think about a mug. If I say a mug can hold 10 grams of sugar, maybe, how much is a maximum? And I ask you, how much sugar can be in the cup? You can then say either 10 grams or anything less than the 10 grams. So you'll say mug less or equal to. So that's how you just have a look at the inequality and equality. But for now, I want us to take a quick ad break. When I come back, I'm then going to make this more abstract and more mathematical in terms of a linear equation where we have an unknown and try to talk about how do we then look at that based on a number line. Please stay tuned. I'll be back just now.